And a swing and a drive. High and deep into left field and way back and gone.
Oh, my goodness. Off to stick with Whitney into the glass. Scooped up by Hemsky, and he's hammered. And it's caught. It's
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Wrap Up. I'm your host, Nick Buckler. With me, as always, Dan Myers. Dan, again, as always, thanks.
As always, it's great to be here.
All right. We got a lot to talk about today, and one of them is the Major League team in town, the Detroit Tigers. And they've kind of started to right the ship towards the end of last week. But we're going to start at the beginning of the week. The Oakland Athletics were at Comerica Park. And, well, the Athletics have just brutally struggled, and they came in and swept the Tigers. 3 straight games. It started with a 5-3 loss, and that one was not pretty. And then we're not going to touch much about that. We're going to go into Wednesday when they lost 6-1. Anibal Sanchez was on the mound. He went 7 innings, was able to go that far. He did not, I think he recorded 1 strikeout in 7 innings, 4 earned runs. His struggles continue. He'll have signs of greatness in 1 inning to just getting lit up the next inning. His whip is off the charts in a bad way. The number is higher than, it should be. And it's just really degrading and kind of frustrating to watch a guy who's been so good. He's 2 years removed from an ERA title in the American League, and now he might have the highest ERA among starters.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a perfect word, degrading. Right now, it's so frustrating with what's going on with them. It was just embarrassing. Oakland definitely had Detroit's number, and it was apparent if you looked at the scores. And it's just when I was watching, I just felt like I was watching a major league team. It was just so frustrating. It was like almost watching like a little league team play, and just that frustration. But you can't yell because they're not going to listen to you or whatever. So, there's not much to say. It's pretty upsetting.
Well, that was the game. If you had to pick a game for them to lose in the series, they would. They were going up against Sonny Gray from the Oakland Athletics, and he has been the only bright spot in that organization when they're not playing the Tigers. A guy who has been dominant against the Tigers is the guy who started for him Thursday, and that's Jesse Hahn. He shut him down again. Tigers didn't score until he was lifted from the game. They actually scored 1 run against him in the 6th on a Cabrera double. But Shane Green was on the mound for the Tigers, and another disastrous start for him. He goes 4 1/3, gives up all kinds of runs. I don't even know how many, probably 100, if that were possible. But
felt like it.
There was a 9th inning comeback, and that kind of made you start to think, okay, maybe the Tigers are putting it together. Daniel Fields made his Major League debut. He's a local kid. Mm-hmm. He went to, was it Brother Rice?
Yes. Yep,
and he boots the ball in left field. He's coming down to glove it, throw a guy out at home. Ends up lifting his glove. It rolls all the way to the wall. Every run scores that you could imagine. Even guys that weren't in the game scored on that play. And he makes up for it, starts the 9th inning rally off with a double when he almost kind of fell rounding first base. But that's a good hustle play for him. And he was immediately sent down after the game because Rajai Davis came back from his paternity leave. But then Tyler Collins comes in, who of late has turned it up. He had a 3-run homer off the Bell Tire tarp, and next thing you know, it's 7-5. When at the beginning of the inning it was 7-1, and they actually had to bring Tyler Clippard, their closer, in to kind of stop the bleeding, if you will. But in the end, Tigers drop another one, 7-5.
It was a nice comeback. I guess you could say somewhat sort of a comeback. It was nice to see that the character morale still there. They weren't phoning it in, and with these past 2.5 weeks, it's been pretty easy to want to do that. How easy was it for you to change the channel on some of these games? It was just so frustrating to see the same thing day in and day out. But I think that was a big testament. It showed a lot of character value with the team. They still kept going. They just kept trucking, and it worked. Granted, they didn't win, but that was a good thing to see. Poor Danny Fields, he was his first game up. Well, at least he's got that bug out of his system. So should we need him again, we won't have to worry about that first game. He made some mistakes. He got that over and done with, and then he ended up making a pretty good play too. So overall, it was sort of a game to not really hang your head low on, but sort of a bright light at the end of the tunnel.
one good inning. So 8 innings of hanging your head. One inning of, if you're still there, you're either too drunk to know what's going on or not there. I know I had some people I knew went to the game, left in the 4th inning. Because it was only 4-0, but it's just the same. It's just the way it's been.
Right.
It's almost not fun at that point. It's just so like, there's only so much you can do. It's not, sure, the social atmosphere. That gets old when your team's constantly getting clobbered every night. And so, okay, let's take it on the road to the south side of Chicago. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can turn it around against the scuffling White Sox. Tigers come in losing 7 straight games, and they can't make it 8. They haven't lost 8 in a row since 2005. And started well. They were up 3-2. And 9th inning, Joakim Soria gets the first 3 outs. He comes in for the final out of the 8th inning, gets the first 2 outs with ease in the 9th. And then Adam LaRoche comes in, and it's a home run, ties the game at 3. Can't blame Soria. He's been great all year. And then he gets the last guy after that. So then we head to extra innings. But on that fly ball to center field that turned out to be the home run for Adam LaRoche, I almost think Rajai might have been able to grab that ball, and I think that it was a questionable call even for Brad Ausmus after the game. He said, well, Davis said he couldn't get it, but it looked like he might have been able to do so.
Yeah, he could have done that, and that was just I keep bringing this up, it's just a series of unfortunate events that just happen to be going wrong for the Tigers. And, it's easier to say now, but it's one of those things that you got to remember is, you shouldn't put the game on one play. You should have opportunities to let plays like that happen and still not worry about it and still maintain the game's control. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. And then obviously, Adam LaRoche just had the Tigers' number all year. So you got to watch out for that guy in the next time we play him. So unfortunately, he's just been a thorn in Detroit's side, and hopefully we can figure it out and we can turn it around. It's unfortunate, especially with this pitching situation. Going back to the last series with Shane Green, it's like I had such high hopes for the guy. I was really excited for him, and I wish we could fix it. I wish we knew what was going on. I really want him to do well here in Detroit, but what can you do? I mean, you're putting up numbers like that. You got to do something.
11th inning comes around. Alex Wilson on the mound, and bases get loaded up. They intentionally walk Jose Abreu, and then he ends up drilling Avi Garcia in the forearm to win the game. And that's just another series of unfortunate events that have uncoiled for the Tigers. And there it is, longest losing streak since 2005. Under the current era of, them being back, and now 0-8 in our last 8. The stopper comes to the mound Saturday. National broadcast, Fox Sports 1, if you want to call that national. I'm still not sold on that, but David Price comes in, and it's what the doctor dialed in. They ordered that right up. Complete game, 5 hits. They win 7-1, and 18 hits for the Tigers. The offense was back that game, and that was just really a breath of any kind of fresh air you could get. Even some old air, some spoiled air, any kind of air, nitrogen, anything.
Hey, they're still breathing. That's the key, right?
The fork has slightly been pulled out of them a little bit. Still in them, because, they're still, they have a lot of work to do. But that was good to see. Miguel Cabrera with the home run to center field, and what kind of turned the series around, I guess you could say. Because they come back on Sunday, and the other only bright spot pitcher they have, Alfredo Simon, comes in. He goes 8 innings strong, and they get home runs from Cespedes and J.D. Martinez, who hasn't homered in light years, it feels like.
It does.
And they get another win, 6-4. Soria comes back and gets an easy save. And just like that, the Tigers have won 2 games in a row, and they're going to play the Cubs in the upcoming week. And that's always fun to see. But are they back?
That's what I want to ask you. I really don't know. It's there's been times where, in years past we've had losing streaks, and then at the end of the season we just went on a run and we made it to postseason and did pretty well there. So do you rely on this past history of them actually having succession in the end of the season, or what do you do now? Do you have to make some moves? Do you have to make an example out of somebody? Thank God we have, Miguel Cabrera still standing tall, making great plays and just incredible on offense. But what do we do now? That's I don't know how to feel about this.
In their last 40 games, they've only won 11 times.
Yeah,
So that's just bad.
it's not good.
And they're only 4 games out of first place still, maybe less by now, but 11 and 29.
Yeah, how did they
That
get so
number is
lucky?
just horrible. And the fact that they're still in the hunt because the teams around them have been scuffling. Kansas City's offense has gone away. Minnesota's, I mean, how long are they going to be for real, That's tough to see, but Cleveland's come out of nowhere. And I'm still not writing off the White Sox because they have proven hitters in that lineup that still haven't come around. Guys like Melky Cabrera and Adam Eaton. And don't forget about Jose Abreu and Avisail Garcia, Adam LaRoche.
Yep.
The list goes on.
Yep.
And their pitching staff, Chris Sale, he's great. Jeff Samardzija, he's been great in the past. And they just have the guys who have been there, but it's a question of are they over the hill and are they going to do it? Getting back to the Tigers, I'm not sold on them quite yet because, mind you, they still lost 8 games in a row and look pitiful while doing such. But this is kind of, okay, we're starting to turn and get back. If they can be 10 games over 500 by the end of the month, then I'll say, okay, the Detroit Tigers are back, and they can start to look forward to winning their 5th straight Central Division, trying to get over the hump of getting out of the first round, managing the bullpen better in the playoffs. But to do so, they're going to have to get more pieces. I don't think Jabba Chamberlain's your guy for the 8th inning, although he's been masterful this year. His ERA is like 1.2 this season. His WHIP is under 1, but he gives up other people's runs. When he has inherited base runners, he's not converting those situations. So his numbers are kind of in question because they're not a full mirror of what he's been.
Yeah.
It's kind of a false front. He's putting on a facade for everybody out there, and he's tough to really get a read on, but Bruce Rondon threw 1 inning on Sunday of rehab ball, and he's the guy who a lot of people thought would be their closer. Setup man at least, maybe even 7th inning to start. He gives up 4 runs in 1 inning, 6 hits, walks a batter. It was bad, real bad, but a guy who didn't do so bad, Justin Verlander. He really righted the ship, struck out 9, goes 6 2/3, throws 99 pitches, and it was a lot better than his first start. He's going to start against Cleveland this weekend for the Tigers.
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about this right now. We normally have trouble with our pitchers, especially the past couple of years in the postseason. If we're having trouble, this much trouble right now, do they ever really turn it around, or should they start making moves? It's just a reoccurring issue, and it seems like that's our issue. But on the bright note, a positive note, is Justin Verlander's just starting now in the season. If he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a huge asset. I know a lot of people are not happy with him right now, whether it's the social media, whether it's just his rehab time, who knows. But if he can stay healthy, I think that's a great example. Should the Tigers make it into the postseason, that's how he's going to get his name out of the mud. He's going to wipe it off and say, you know what, guys, I'm here to stay. Keep me here. I want to show you what I can do. Let's take this train into the postseason and maybe make something out of it. Or at least get the Tigers rolling in some solid wins towards the end of the season, make it a run. We'll see, but I hear a lot of people talking about how they're disgusted by Justin Verlander. They're angry. They're just sick of Justin Verlander and his news and lack thereof. I think that he can be a very valuable asset to us, being, I don't know if you want to say fully healthy, but healthier than he normally would be towards the end of the season or mid-season form. So hopefully he can pull it together and he can turn things around for them.
I would love to be able to get Justin Verlander of maybe 4 or 5 years ago back, and going forward with him, put him with David Price and Alfredo Simon. And those 3 guys could lead us, because I don't think Sanchez is going to be the guy to lead us this year. He's been too inconsistent, and the more consistent he's been consistently bad.
Yep.
Shane Green, first 3 starts, we're like, thank you, New York, appreciate it. Now, New York, can have him back for free. We'll even throw in Johan Franzen. It's just,
yeah.
It's still, the verdict's still out on the Tigers. Next week, we'll have a better feel. They're playing Cleveland. playing the Cubs, who have been surprising this year, and we'll see. The Cubs series is going to be tough. They're facing Arrieta and John Lester, and we have, I hate to say it, Green and Sanchez going. So our two worst pitchers against their two best pitchers. It'll be tough, but if we can outslug them, we can win the games. Comerica Park, we're still a game over 500 there. Oh, joy. But it's
Settle down.
They're going to need the crowd to get behind them. It's an
Absolutely.
interleague game, always more exciting. It should be fun to see. Another thing that should be fun to see, the new head coach for the Detroit Red Wings, Jeff Blashill, announced on Tuesday, 11 a.m. press conference, he will be the new head coach of the Detroit Red Wings. And this is kind of not a surprise to anyone. Everyone knew he was going to get the job. He's turned every program that he's been at around, Western Michigan. He was even an assistant at Ferris, I believe, for a little while.
University
And then
of Miami,
most
Ohio.
recently, what most people know, the Grand Rapids Griffins, where he's coached a good 70% of the team that the Red Wings have now. And even the veterans are excited for him. Drew Miller's come out with a statement, very excited. Other guys that have been there, done that. They're excited for the new leadership, the new team, I guess you can say.
New face, fresh.
New face, fresh air. And they're Tony Granato, they're not even out of the woods on losing him. So if we can obtain him as an assistant coach, that would be great. He declined the club option, or I'm sorry, his personal option for next season, but he's still just trying to restructure that. He said absolutely he wants to stay and be an assistant coach under Blash. And I think it would be great if we can obtain him and kind of keep the same voice with a mixture of the new voice to keep the veterans happy and the younger guys happy. It could be a good winning blend for the Red Wings upcoming season.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think you're right with the we got a fresh face with the coach. With look at our lineup. What would you say? 70% of our lineup. A lot of changes going on, which is exciting also. But one thing I really liked about learning when I did some more research with him, he was a goalie, and he is familiar with goalie situations. Let me tell you, from you played hockey too. Goalies are a whole different breed. You gotta be something different to jump in front of a net to protect it and go, jump in front of 90 mile an hour slap shots. So he's sort of familiar with them. I think he's the right coach to figure out this goalie situation, what we want to do with him too. We have a lot of potential, and that's another thing we can get into also. But as far as Blash, I'm really excited about him. I think the guys, obviously, they're ecstatic about it. I think they actually have to tone it down, especially on social media if you're friends with any of them. But you can see that. So it's an exciting hire. It's a fresh face for a fresh look of the Red Wings. I mean, these past couple of years, it's been completely new faces, and we're molding that talent that is going to eventually, I feel, bring us back to the 97, 98, the Stanley Cup contending and winning Wings.
Let's hope so. Like you said about them getting carried away on social media, that's one thing I don't necessarily like. The Tigers just recently did that with Brad Ausmus, and they're praising him as like their friend. There's pictures of him shirtless with a surfboard, and the players are posting this stuff, and then they go into a tailspin and lose 8 in a row. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but you're not supposed to be buddy-buddy with the coach.
Right.
It's just that's not how it is. It's almost too laid back when you're like that. You're hanging out, you're cracking brews with him, you're going, that's all fine, but there's still a task at hand, and there's still the level of, you should fear your coach, at least a little bit.
Yep.
And when you don't, look at Scotty Bowman. The guys feared him. When he would come through, he would get his skates on. He meant business.
Yep.
He'd be yelling at guys at practice, and guys hated playing for him. But at the same time, they loved playing for him because he drew the best out of every single player. Even like the guys like Maltby and Draper. Without Scotty Bowman, I'm not sure they would have been who they turned out to be, for their NHL career. And that's the thing I just hope Blashill is able to get on the more professional level, because I know the guys are really excited about it, but I don't know if they're excited for the right reasons. Are they excited because, okay, we're going to catch a break, Babcock's gone, we can be more laid back? Or are they excited because, okay, this is a new look, let's get to work and let's win some hockey games? I don't know if that's it. And if this continues, at least for the Tigers' standpoint about Ausmus, getting back to that, sure, he might be a good manager, which I'm still not so sure he is, but even if it's the best manager, and the guys don't, it's almost like they don't respect him as a coach, but more as a friend. You can't have that person. They're going to lose the clubhouse like that. Boom, gone. Look what happened to Bobby Valentine in Boston.
Yep.
Team made the playoff. Well, they were on pace, and then all of a sudden he loses the clubhouse. Team loses 12 straight games, fired immediately. And that's just something that Detroit teams in general need to be quicker on the trigger at recognizing these things. And I just hope that's not the case with Blashill.
Right. And it's kind of a reoccurring trend, I feel like, too, with all these great coaches, especially in the NHL. You know, you lost Scotty Bowman, amongst some other ones, but we won't get into. But it's a new breed of coaches, I feel like. Obviously, you got to get younger coaches. You have the few old gruff ones, like maybe if you want to consider a Mike Babcock, a Joel Quenneville, a Barry Trotz, someone who is actually, gritty. He's outspoken. Who was the old New York coach that they got rid of?
Torts?
Yes, Torts.
Tortorella.
Then, maybe you should. I won't even get into that. But
You had a weird love for Torts, anyways.
I did like him.
And it was kind of questionable.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll get into that later. That'll
Right.
be the after show or whatever.
Right.
But I feel like obviously we're in a new time period, and bear with me here with what I'm going is we have a new time period. It's not the old school, no social media. You rarely heard from coaches, in the night. Well, up until the last 5 years, you rarely heard from coaches or players, and then the social media platform came in, and like you were saying, I'm not crazy about the social media craze either. Putting everything out there. That's what sports was about. You had to guess the other team's next move as a chess match. But now with the social media, Twitter especially, it's a complete cancer to any organization. You got to watch out for what you say, obviously, and what you do on there. And I feel like you have to make an adjustments, and this is really going to hurt not only the NHL, NFL, and Major League Baseball. You just got to prepare to handle it differently. Obviously, this is a very different time, like I said earlier. We got to figure out something to take a hold of this, because I feel like this is almost getting too out of control.
And almost taking away from what the coaches actually do is social media, because you get these reporters and everyone posting their entire knowledge of the game out. Oh, they should have done this, this, and this differently. Next thing you know, the team does that, and that differently. It takes away from almost the coaching aspect of the entire game. And I'm not saying get rid of social media, because that'll never happen. But it almost takes away from the game.
Yeah.
And the coach, honestly, these players could coach themselves in general. Certain ones that have been there, done that. Look at back in the day, they had player coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the Flint Tropics. They had a player coach owner, Will Ferrell, Jackie Moon, baby, let's go. I mean, when the Flint Tropics have a player coach, the Detroit Red Wings could have a player coach.
There you go.
Strap Blashill on some skates and let's go. But some history was made out on the horse track this past week.
Yep.
And probably the past month. American Pharoah, first Triple Crown since, what was it, 1978?
70s, yeah, yep.
And that's just, we were alive during that. That's not that one, but this current Triple Crown, if you will. And
Yep.
he's taking one out of Miggy's book, I guess you could say, getting that Triple Crown.
I heard Miggy called him and gave him congratulations.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a side bet. How long till the next Triple Crown?
It's a great question.
I guess
do you
think
can
it's
never
sooner
know.
than later? Do we start testing the horses for steroids?
I mean, I don't know. What kind of suspension do you give a horse? You take it out back? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't
was
know.
entertaining.
It's tough to gauge, because
Yeah.
you don't know so much about. It's about the horse. It's about the jockey. It's about everything. I don't know. We may never see one again in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there could be one next year. That's the thing about horse racing, is anything could happen. You could have a horse that is the favorite, and then in the Belmont Stakes he breaks his leg, and boom, he's
Yep.
out. And next thing you know, Johnny Olo wins the race, and someone's getting a rich payday because he was 900 to 1 odds.
Yep.
So that's just the thing. The next horse that could win may not even be alive yet.
That's true, yeah.
And it's just really, that's what keeps the horse racing game exciting. There's no, oh, well, this horse is a powerhouse. It's different every year. It's not like the San Antonio Spurs of the 2000s, the Lakers of the 90s, along with the Bulls. You know, it's not. Basketball is the easiest to judge what teams are going to be in the finals because there's no parity in the league.
Right.
But horse racing is the complete opposite. Any horse could win.
Yeah.
Any horse could win.
And you know what? I'm not the biggest horse race fan.
No.
But when you hear that a horse, it almost seems like every 3-4 years you hear about, this one's it's on its way to the Triple Crown, blah, blah, blah. So, I'll tune in if they're on there. It's exciting, I should say. It's exciting to see them going for the Triple Crown. I'm not the biggest fan, but, I did tune in, I did watch it, and I thought that was fun to watch. I don't know what was more fun to watch was watching my friends lose when they bet against them or actually seeing American Pharoah win. It was either way, I won, and I didn't even spend any money.
Exactly. Couple quick tidbits I want to get to before we expire our session for the day is the United States women's soccer. They were in action on Monday night for their first game of the World Cup, and they trot out to a 3-1 win against Australia. I guess Hope Solo had a pretty good game, but that's always good.
Yep.
Gotta love the Women's World Cup. It's always really exciting to see Alex Morgan out there, among others, obviously. But it's always that time of year. Every 4 years, you get the World Cup, and it's always a very exciting moment for Americans among Europeans, South Americans, and whatnot.
Yeah, and maybe it's what's going on with that whole FIFA situation, or maybe it's just the fact that the women's soccer is back. But I really do enjoy it. I was looking forward to it yesterday. It was fun to watch. A great atmosphere in that stadium. The girls are fun to watch. They're, like you said, with your girlfriend Alex Morgan or Hope Solo in net, you got Wambach and a couple of new fresh faces. It's exciting to watch. I don't know. For some reason, I just prefer that over men's soccer. Maybe that's just me, and I'll probably get some stuff for that, but whatever. I really enjoy women's soccer, and I thought it was, a great game yesterday. It was fun to watch. Something fresh, get some new sports going on. And this time of year, it's starting to get a little slow. Hockey's done. You got baseball, and so it was good. Entertaining.
I'm really glad you didn't say basketball because we don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't have. There's no traveling called anymore. We'll get to that. Hopefully never.
It's track with a ball.
But you do know something. You said my girlfriend Alex Morgan. Thank you. We're trying to keep it secret. I
Sorry.
know. But another quick thing I want to get to is the FIFA movie came out this weekend. Soccer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a big hit, right? Guess what the revenue was for the opening weekend, the whole weekend in the United States. Take a wild stab.
Is it comparable to 2 extra value meals, or are we talking a little bit more?
2 extra value meals. No, a little more. $607.
Oh,
total
boy.
revenue for the opening weekend in the United States for the FIFA movie. Yeah, soccer's really catching on here in the United States. Really catching on.
Maybe that's why we're leading the charge against this whole FIFA scandal, too.
Michigan softball team mentioned last week that they were in the College World Series against Florida. Dropped game 1, come back and win game 2. Unfortunately, they lost game 3 and ended up losing the World Series, but a great season for them.
Yeah, definitely keep your heads up. That was
keep
great.
their heads up. Great season overall, and good to see for the years to come that Michigan's back, at least on the diamond for men and women. So that's always good to see.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that's about all the time that we have, though, for another episode of The Wrap Up. I'm your host, Nick Buckler, for Dan Myers. Thanks for watching.